Welcome to another book discussion. My name is Sylvia, and today's random book club pick is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is the first book in a series and is an adult, cozy romance novel and tells the story of Jeanie Ellis, who moves to the small town of Dream Harbor for a fresh start after inheriting her aunt's cafe. We also have the POV of a local farmer named Logan, who wants nothing more than to be left alone after a very hard and public breakup. Despite both of their intentions, they can't deny they are drawn to each other. Jeanie takes over the cafe and immediately things are going wrong, but it feels like more. She thinks someone is trying to break in, and her and Logan do this dance of, "I'm fine, I'm scared, come over, someone is breaking in, let's make out, rinse and repeat." So now we have this mystery mixed in, and that makes me want to read more. I like when writers mix genres, and this could also be pitched as a cozy mystery. Light on the mystery. The reader and Logan start to wonder, is she doing this to kind of get him to come over so that she can kind of make out with him, and she's afraid to tell him that that's what she wants to do? But then there's a discussion about maybe this is a teenager, and then eventually they find out that it's actually an alley cat. Meanwhile, she's getting to Logan, and he's starting to do very un-Logan-like things, and the town is taking notice. He's going to town meetings, and it's great. We know that this is a romance, but he's starting to feel more like a reluctant hero. We know what he needs to do, but he's dragging his feet the whole way. It's like, you're already halfway there to love. Why not just fall? And the reason for this is because Logan has been hurt. He asked the last woman in his life to marry him in front of the whole town, and she said no. She wasn't really a small town life person, and it's not for everyone. And now he has this irrational fear that Jeanie is going to leave. So he's really trying his best not to be attracted to her or get attached at all. But in the end, she wins him over, and it's a love match. When it comes to the people in the town, they are reading a Smutty Time book club book. And when they tell Jeanie about this, she says, "Oh damn, she might have to check out this book later." I believe she says this in her head, and for me it was another one of those laugh out moments. Then there's the big reveal of the mystery. Norman, who works for the cafe, confesses he's been messing with Jeanie, hoping she would leave. He wanted to buy the cafe from her aunt, and since the aunt left, there's no one else to take his frustrations on except for Jeanie. But we're not finished. Her aunt randomly shows up, hearing all about this, and tells Norman she forgives him, which I thought was very big of her, because Norman seems kind of weird to me. She also tells him that he should go away with her. Now, I was listening to this audiobook and I was more, invested in the mystery and what's really going on there, and distracted by all of the things that I'm doing while I am trying to juggle listening and doing dishes. And I guess I really didn't catch on to the fact that Norman and the aunt had this relationship, but it's there and we're going to go with it. Norman says yes to the aunt's request, and they all live happily ever after. I enjoyed this book and would listen to the rest of the series. Why I read it. I love Gilmore Girls, and one of my critique partners thought that this could be a comp for the book that she's currently drafting. And this would be the book that I'm also going to be making edits and critiquing. So I thought it would be a good idea that I also read this book. After we found out the level of smut in this book, it was a no. However, this author takes the idea of Gilmore Girls and the town of Stars Hollow and makes it her own. I enjoyed Luke as Logan, and I do think that he would absolutely be a farmer if not an owner of a diner. Lorelai as a cafe owner, I'm not sure that I'm buying as much, just because I feel like she would drink all of the coffee. I could see Miss Patty and Babette reading Smutty Time books for their book club. At the end of the day, the author did a great job of not offending fans like me of the Gilmore Girls by trying too much to be like the TV series. I feel like it was just enough without it being a hit or a miss, because if you don't really nail some of these things, it can really offend fans, and fans are very, very passionate. I went into this book not knowing much. There's no build up to the characters, and the smutty scenes are really not necessary, but I laughed out loud a few times, and I understand now that spice in the title is for spicy time. Now let's talk a little bit more about my thoughts on the sex scenes. They weren't needed, like I mentioned, and based on the cover, this book is claiming to be a very innocent, cozy romance. I could have given this to my 14-year-old niece who loves the Gilmore Girls, like me, and not known that there are full-on sex scenes in the book. I didn't mind them. Most scenes like this, when they're written, they tend to feel like the author has never had an intimate moment in their life, but this wasn't too bad. But this didn't read like that. I didn't think of them as squirmish scenes, and like I mentioned, I laughed out loud a few times during this book, especially during the sex scenes. The author did have that initial attraction running through the minds of the two main characters, so I started to see and possibly think that it would lead up to some sexy time, but I didn't know it would be like this. This book did win an award. It won the TikTok Shop Book of the Year for 2024, which I didn't know was a thing, and now goals. And it was also on the Sunday Times and USA Today's bestseller list, as well as being featured on Good Morning America. Now, in spite of all of this, I had never heard about this book until my friend Evie had mentioned it. Because this is a random read, I don't know what book will be next, but look in the description and it may be posted there. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope that this was helpful. And as always, don't forget to read a book, write a book. Sincerely, Sylvia.